Alright, hi everyone. So today I'm gonna be talking about how to stop overthinking, because I feel like that's a really big problem for a lot of people, and I even had this experience as well for a long time, and I never really understood the deeper meaning behind it. So I think that the first thing I want to talk about is how what it really is, and how to understand it more so that you can see what loop you're stuck in, what cycle isn't breaking yet. So I wrote down a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna be talking about again. If you're new, hi, I'm Michaela, and I just started this YouTube channel to spread my wisdom. So hopefully this finds you well. And let's get started. I'll pull my chair. Okay. You guys can also see me a little better today. I don't have my lights on. I'm recording this in the daytime right now. Usually I record them at night because it's more quiet, but it's okay. So you're not broken and you're not lost when it comes to being a victim of overthinking, because the truth is that you're really only stuck in a loop of your own mind. But at its root, at its core, overthinking is just misplaced identity. So this might be a little hard to understand, but I'll get more into it. I'll get in more depth with it. So basically, you're the awareness of your mind, not the actual mind. So what this means is you are the person that's seeing things, and your mind is the thing that judges it all and gives you these thoughts that you identify yourself with, if that makes sense. So basically, your thoughts come and go, but you don't, so that's what awareness is. So for example, waves go up and down, but the ocean doesn't stop the waves just because, so I think another good topic to touch on with this is that the mind lives in time. So usually your thoughts are about anything but the actual present moment. So the what if thoughts. What if this situation could have gone differently? What if I said this instead of this? What if? In reality, the what ifs don't exist, and the present is the only thing that does exist, because the mind remembers things from the past and sees potential danger in the future. So these imaginary futures and these what if past experiences are not true. So there's only right now, and obviously you're safe because you're sitting down, you're relaxed watching this video, and you're breathing. There's a lot of things that come into play when we're talking about overthinking, because I understand the struggle of it all. I really do. So I think that a lot of people think that overthinking and the solution of it, or to it, to heal it, is to run away from it. And obviously that's not the right thing to do, because there's no need to escape your thoughts, because in a better perspective, overthinking is just a reminder to return to the present moment over and over and over and over again. So when I had this problem, I always ask myself, what am I missing right now that, like, what am I missing right now because overthinking is consuming my mind right now. So, but there's a lot of things you could be missing. You could be out with a bunch of friends at a dinner. You can be out with, your family, and you're just sitting there like zoned out, So there's just a lot you could be missing. There could be a conversation about something that's happening with one of your family members that's so great, and you're just missing everything because you're stuck in here. But the truth is that overthinking tries to control your life, but the truth is life cannot be controlled, and I can promise you that. Basically, the mind is afraid that if it stops thinking so much, there's some sort of danger, or there's some sort of bad thing that's happened or happening. So when the mind finally has a pause, it does feel a little weird in the beginning. Once you start making these adjustments in your life to bring yourself back to now, it's kind of hard to make those adjustments at first because it's unfamiliar, it's different, it's change. So what I found that was best for me through trying to come back to the present moment and stop overthinking, because at its core also overthinking strips us from the present moment, and that is the most important place to be. So say to yourself, whenever you're overthinking, just say to yourself, it's just a thought, and move on. I've also seen some people talk about how they make it into like this physical thing where they think of the thought and then they're like pop, like it's a bubble, like they make the thought a bubble and they pop it. Or some people just like literally take their hands and just flick it away, and that's even worked for me. So do what you will with that. But once you start doing that, you'll really notice how meaningless these random thoughts are, and how like the mind really is, I won't say it always is, but is your enemy most of the time, because sometimes you'll think thoughts that make you feel so guilty, and at its core you know that it literally like will just cause you to feel bad feelings, obviously. So overthinking is just your mind's way of seeing things and judging it like that. But you also don't know the truth behind those things. So like if you are talking to this person and you're making judgments about the way they look before you even get to know them, I feel like that's so terrible, because you don't even know what these people have gone through. This person could have the same exact struggles as you. They could have the same exact overthinking thoughts that you have, but your mind is that quick to judge them, So once you realize that your overthinking thoughts are very meaningless, like even for myself, like I thought, oh, what if my future doesn't turn out how I want it to? That's just me blocking my own future, because I'm already setting my future to have bad expectations. So once I get to that future, or once I'm in that moment of like a place I wanted to be in, I'll remember the past version of me that's like, I thought this was gonna be the most embarrassing. I thought this was gonna be the worst day of my life. So when you're in your mind and you're overthinking about the future, it's a completely different story, because you are putting these expectations on certain things that will happen in the future, and if they don't happen, you end up being disappointed, which is also self-inflicted disappointment. So, what you're thinking in your mind, you're creating for your future, if you're thinking about the future, obviously. But when it comes to talking about the past, like overthinking about the past, there is nothing you can do about that anymore. There's literally nothing you can do about it. I could sit here and be upset about friendships that have ended in my life, but what am I going to do about it now? You know? So it's just like, you can be upset about this career you don't have anymore and all the coworkers you lost with that. Do you realize how much of a waste of time, how much waste of like literal real life that is? That's like, it's just a waste of time. It's crazy sometimes when I find myself even thinking about, the past and future. And I even still find myself stuck in this loop because it's such a hard thing to actually, be conscious of all the time, because everyone gets stuck in the loop, obviously. It's hard, So I'm very empathetic of the people that go through this and are actually aware of it, because that is one of the first steps to realizing and how to heal and how to, fix that overthinking thing that you have going on. So just realize that you're not the actual thinker in your mind. You are the awareness that's watching everything around you. So I'm not going to say you're the eyes, but you're what you see, So you're just the silence that resides within you, if that makes sense. So just consider, if I'm not the thought, then who am I? And once you ask yourself that, just breathe and ask yourself, who am I without the thoughts? Who am I besides the thoughts? And then you'll realize that silence follows, and that silence is you.